Welcome to the first episode of Tax Podcast. Before the COVID-19 pandemic turned our world upside down, the concept of remote working was actually pretty remote. Working from home was considered to be only for the days when you were actually sick or you had a travel plan in the afternoon and so on. It was common to associate working from home with either taking leave or assuming the employee to be unproductive for that period. The last couple of years have, however, dramatically changed that and accelerated the acceptance of remote working for organizations and have brought in a decade's worth of change in mindset, the infrastructure, and ways of working. Now, with most teams operating remotely or at least in a hybrid setup, the business leaders are focused on understanding exactly what the future of remote work will look like. And Deloitte's comprehensive future of work framework focuses on workplace as a key lever, which rethinks the aspect related to where is the work done from. Also, as per Deloitte's Future of Work Accelerated survey, conducted with about 42 CXOs, 60% of the organizations have seen an increase in productivity by about 10% over the last 2 years. So while this is a welcome step by organizations, Anita, let me ask you about what does it entail from an India tax perspective? So as organizations prepare themselves to embrace this new agile working policy, what broad tax consequences should they keep in mind?
That's a good observation, Samir, and I couldn't agree with you more. We've actually undergone a paradigm shift when it comes to reimagining the workplace post COVID-19. Coming to your specific question, yes, I think organizations must consider all the tax and regulatory consequences of implementing this policy in all jurisdictions where they would permit their employees to work from. So from an India tax perspective, let me first talk to you about the consequences that the foreign organization should keep in mind. At the outset, it is very important that they understand that their employees are not being seconded to India. They will work from India, but they will continue to be employees of the foreign company. So the foreign employer needs to be mindful that if their employees are present in India over a specified threshold, then considering India's tax laws and its interplay with various treaties that India has entered into with the jurisdiction in which the foreign company is a resident, if they breach that threshold, they could create a tax presence in India, which is popularly called as a permanent establishment or PE in India. Now, you may ask me, what are the factors pertinent in this analysis? Some key factors would be, one, what is the role of such employees in India? Are they core? Are they central to the role of the organization? Or are they in an auxiliary support role? You may also ask, are they in a client-facing role or not? Are they serving Indian clients when present in India, or foreign clients, or both? What premises do they use? Where do they work from? Is it an office of an affiliate, their home, rented premises, or even a hotel maybe? And what are the number of days that all the employees in aggregate are present in India?
So, Anita, I was wondering if I was deciding whether to implement this policy on behalf of the company, I would be keen at the outset to fortify my policy with guardrails, as so to not create the tax presence. On what lines should I proceed then?
So, Samir, that's actually a very fact-specific analysis if you see. But you're right, I agree with you. Certain guardrails can definitely be put in place to minimize or mitigate the exposure. Let me give you an example. The organization could put a threshold on the number of days that employees can spend in a particular country, let's say India. They can clearly put a restriction not to visit offices of affiliates while in India. There should be a monitoring and tracking mechanism on the number of employees who travel to India and their stay in India. While in India, they should definitely not interact with Indian customers, nor should the employees have the authority to sign, negotiate, or conclude contracts with any Indian clients. These are just, of course, some illustrative guardrails, but which should help to manage and mitigate the PE exposure. And the reason I say so is that if a tax presence of the foreign enterprise is created in India, then certain profits of this foreign enterprise will become attributable to the permanent establishment in India, and they will have to pay taxes in India. As you would clearly understand, this would entail various registrations and compliances. They will have to obtain an income tax registration, which is called a PAN, GST registration. They will have to undertake withholding obligations, GST compliances, file income tax returns, transfer pricing compliances, and so on. But let me also add one thing here, Samir, that we have observed in our experience that there are certain MNCs who have a separate foreign company which employs these globally mobile employees, somewhat like a manpower supply services group company. If such a group company ends up creating a PE in India, the exposure is only to the profits of this company and not to that of the main foreign multinational enterprise.
That's a really comprehensive summary, Anita, about the tax implications for an organization. But what about the employees who travel to India?
Sure, Samir. I think, as far as the employees go, Indian laws tax employees on their salaries earned for services rendered in India, even if they are employees of a foreign enterprise. Having said that, there is some respite available in the domestic laws. If they are not Indian citizens and their stay does not exceed 90 days, and the employer company does not have a PE in India and does not claim a deduction of their salary cost in respect of such PE, then the employee's salary is not taxable in India. Let me also mention here that several of India's tax treaties with other countries also have a similar provision. But if an employee's salary income becomes taxable in India, they will need to obtain a PAN in India. They will have to file their income tax returns, undertake immigration formalities, and then they will seek to claim foreign tax credit for the taxes they paid in India back in their home country according to their domestic laws. I think, Samir, what I've tried to do is broadly sum up the Indian tax consequences at a high level for the organization on one hand and the mobile employees for organizations that are evaluating this global work from anywhere policy. And I must say, I'm glad that you brought up this very current and relevant topic of discussion because, Samir, it is so reflective of the times we are in post-COVID-19 and reimagining the future of work.
Thank you so much, Anita, for that. We hope organizations will evaluate this employee-friendly measure of reimagining the workplace and will bear in mind the overview of India tax implications that we discussed. We'll be back with an interesting lineup of topics. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to this podcast. Take care and have a good day.